6:33 a.m. Saturday, January 8th, 2022. I miss the Christmas music always being on the radio, but they start playing Casey Kasem again. Back when I did newspapers, this was what I listened to as the sun came up. Finish my day, find out who's number one for some year when I was a kid. This year, there's a nor'easter. The way the jet streams are doing it with the vortex. Top 100 of 1981. This one's for you. What is this random shit, you may ask? If you've seen the shorts that I just put up, one of which the upload machine on the phone doesn't always work right, and I adjusted it down to like 58, 59 seconds, and it's like a minute and one. And if you play it, it says a minute, and it's even got the shorts hashtag in it, but it didn't get the algorithm. But there were two distinctly different videos, different edits of the same, intentionally. That's why the titles are spelled differently, or worded differently. They tried to make culture jamming impossible or illegal. Whether it's memes, whether it's topics, shadow banning, etc. But in the real world, this does not apply. You can get a Sububby tattoo. You can get decals for your vehicle. These are better than an NFT because they cost very little and they are real. It's magical, isn't it? It's crazy. Violence is not an option at this time for the worldwide issue of authoritarianism. And I will tell you why. Violence is what they want. Easy, isn't it? That's what they want. Don't give them what they want. When it comes time to give them what they want, they choke on it. Because you make them choke on it. You make them something to choke on. Right now is the time for subversion, mockery, open mockery, to the risk of detriment. Number 42 for the year. 3 times 17. Oh, God, I'm so stupid. 3 times 14. 3 times 14, 42. 3 times 17 is 51. It's a prime number. Oops. Violence is what they want. Subversion is what is called for. Period. So I'm going to find myself a clear face thing to wear. And OSHA's going to come in and whatever. Our shit's going to be tight. Turns out, the manager, I asked about other OSHA regulations just to make sure that everything's straight. I was like, I'm not trying to be difficult, just so that they can't. Here's the thing. If you work for a franchisee, it is entirely possible that the owner of the franchise, the actual business you work for, not the corporate name whose brand you may sell. Find out the difference. Do you work for corporate? Do you work for a franchise? If you work for a franchise, this is technically a small business. If you work for a franchise, you work for a small business. These are the people that are being targeted first, and you must support them. So yeah, you may want to quit a bad manager, but find another franchise of the same industry that you do. If you're in service or food or anything like that, a lot of people are in that. Service industry is huge. Find one that's decent. Find one where you can inquire, is your franchise owner by any chance engaged in lawfare against the corporation to try and stop some bullshit mandates? Because it turns out the answer may be yes. They are legally fighting. While they are legally fighting, it's not time to obey. I'm not saying that. But the fact is that a massive fine on somebody who is suing. Now, the thing is, they're probably going to overturn this OSHA business. They're pushing it to the very end. They're putting up a theatrical display of Supreme Court where one of the justices claimed to not understand the difference between state power, federal power, and the delineation between the two. 8th, 9th, and 10th Amendments, I believe, are involved in that. This is the Supreme Court justice feigning ignorance. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Tim said that, and you know what? I've been saying that for a while. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. They have proven. We have found them out. We have exposed them. They continue to act as if we haven't. That doesn't matter. Feigning ignorance. Playing dumb. That's an Alberto Gonzalez thing that I saw back in the day. Neocons, neolibs. It's not. It's the establishment. It is the establishment. You saw this with Ted Cruz getting called out by Tucker Carlson. This is the establishment. Ted tried to go back to the establishment to draw that in. That was like when QAnon started telling people to go with the 9/11 official narrative that it was 19 guys with box cutters, and they legit found somebody's freaking passport on the ground unburned. Did you know that 4 buildings fell that day in that plaza? Building 6 also fell without being struck by a plane. And they just don't even talk about that. They got you busy talking about Building 7, trying to convince people of shit. I'm going to call back to a previous video. Arguing is not the point. I've stopped trying to convince anyone of anything. If someone is genuinely interested, they will say, okay, please show me. And they will say it in a way, personally, face to face, not online. You cannot do this shit on social media. Text messages with a little picture icon thing next to it messes with your head in ways that you can't. This text box wants me to change my mind. It can't be done like that. That doesn't work because that's part of the control. It's like you're trying to infuse free will into a brainwashing mind control machine, but not giving the machine free will, giving the people being brainwashed free will through the brainwashing machine. You see the problem? It's a contradiction in terms. Psychologically, it's a contradiction, and it does not help. Actually, it tends to activate the cult defense, the guardian altar, as it were. We're culminating now. Hope I don't have to point out every time everything. If I'm saying a word you don't understand, if I'm using a term you don't understand, There are previous videos. If you don't understand the term, rather than discount or disregard what I'm saying, rather than thumbs down, unsubscribe, or any of that other crap, leave a comment and say, I don't understand what you mean by this, and I will gladly explain it. It's not about arguing or convincing, it's about educating and elucidating. That is what it is. For the individual interpersonal interaction, arguing is not the point. Allowing them to construct a logical argument of their own, on their own, based on real info, having been educated, is a whole other animal. But that's not yours to do. It's not mine to do. It's not anybody. It's everyone's own to do for themselves. Shaggy. Don McLean not playing American Pie on the top countdown. This bud's for you. Subversion, not violence. Subversion. Do you know what subversion is? I can attempt to describe it for you. I've been studying this for a while. I kind of get what it is, but you got to be careful. It's an art form. Subversion. Why do I wear this hat? A subversive author with good intent wrote a book that I read, and that just stuck out. It's a thing, and I happened upon 2 at one point of the same hat. It's not exactly as described in the book, but it is still the same. Nobody sings a song better than Roy, though. I don't know if you can hear that. Nobody sings a song better than Roy. Good subversion. It's like good trouble. If you're on the right side of things and you don't understand this, you've heard people on the far left say it. But what we're facing is a bigger thing than just sides. That's why interpersonal interaction is not the mode, it's not the medium. Arguing is not the point. Education is. Subversion is the point. The more people that see what's going on, people are very rapidly waking up to the realization that this shit's backwards, that they're lying a lot. I'm sorry, man. Roy Orbison had honey tones, angel voice. Oh. All the respect to Don McLean, but I'm sorry. I can't deal with that. I'm glad when it's over. Subversion is the point. What is subversion? Subversion is when something is offset from beneath. Some fundamental foundational thing is eroded in a colloquial or cultural sense. It's not social. Social is the interactions of people. Social is education and not forcing anything. People will see it. Apocalypse is Greek. Revelation is kind of an Englishish word. The revealing atation. See how that works linguistically? It is people waking up to the fuckery. And For some reason, these songs get overplayed on other times in the station, but when it's on Casey, it slaps different. Maybe it's the mix, I don't know. The intro, the hype. Subversion is taking the culture, taking the propaganda, taking their idiocy, turning it on itself. Not just mockery and making fun of it, but that helps, and that's an essential part. Good subversion is like culture jamming. It is doing something that maintains this bizarre, uncanny valley, surreal version of what people are used to in just such a way that the vibe and the jive ain't quite right. And they're like, but not in a way that makes them turn away, in a way that makes them look at it and say, why is this different? Why do I feel this weirdness on this thing? Well, the uncanny valley, if you don't know what that is the concept of, and I need to study on this more myself. This is something I've been meaning to look into more. But it is the idea of being able to discern something that is of your kind. And I don't mean this in a race way. I mean, like, it's a survival thing in nature, so it's a species thing, human, right? Or something that is like human but isn't really, so it's like other, not like us. How to trust. Trust is important. And trust has been damaged. And I'll tell you why. Trauma makes it difficult to trust. And especially generalized, free-floating trauma, you have no closure, no idea of the source with which to grapple in your mind or anything. You just have this trauma, random. And that's not healthy. It's not good, because it's something that is intensely difficult to adequately cope with. I suggest sarcasm. I suggest collecting all of those kind of random things when you start realizing you've got some random culture trauma, shit somebody did to your brain without you even realizing it from back when you were a kid or something. Because trust me, it's there. Part of my whole thing with going back on the whatever, sometimes you can hear the real music, the stuff that lasts, stuff that should have lasted but for some reason didn't, and some real period specific what the fuck. Subversion is basically like having your fingers crossed when you make a promise, but you're not lying. Because somebody is trying to do something wrong, or in this case, evil. And the only way to combat it is to do good, but doing good will get you overpowered by the evil. So the way you have to balance that is with subversion. You have to good fights dirty kind of thing. And good fighting dirty does not mean adopting evil tactics. So what that means is that crypto-fascism is a prime example. And I will get more into the weird back and forth on it in a second, which will reinforce why it's not social, it's cultural. Evil fighting dirty is make them follow their own rules, and you try and do it back and it doesn't matter. They're like, no, it's different when we do it. So that doesn't matter. What it is like good must engage in a form of what is modally similar to crypto-fascism, which is to say you find a way to get the laws, or you can take that and make them follow their own rules thing, but you can use the law against them. And that's kind of the thing that's going on right now. People that are doing good in that sense are essentially fighting dirty in the good way, that it's like we're still pushing for our thing, but it's like crypto-fascism is when the people that are endorsing or enabling an authoritarian takeover say, but it's legal. That was what I was talking about with Tatum last night, but I didn't want to put that word in that same video, but that is what it is. It's kind of what they talk about, the banality of evil, but it's just a smidge more aggressive than good people doing nothing kind of thing. crypto fascism is when the excuse is, but it's the rules. It's kind of like I was just following orders, but it's like, it's the same thing as people saying, like, you're on the wrong side of history. Most of the people that told me I was on the wrong side of history are, in all likelihood, I mean, I'm not going to say for sure because I haven't talked to them, thank God, that they're, if they're following the way that it seemed like they were going and they're pretty locked in, would be endorsing the bad things. Like, I don't want to make the list and have keywords and things, right? But there's people that have, in the name of racial equality, promote segregation. For the sake of saving lives, promote a thing that is empirically, in order of magnitude, more lethal than the Delta variant. We're not talking about the later ones where any people might happen to die with it, but not necessarily from it. I'm not sure we have anybody having died from it on a record. All of this oddity automatically wakes people up a little bit. With good subversion, things like, for example, that Mario thing with some cool timing that I just was like thinking about, rolling it in my head, and I was like, ooh, there's an idea. Like, I have an idea for a meme video. I don't know if it's going to go viral or not. I'm going to attempt to shoot it tomorrow night after work. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it together. But so what I'm saying is, good subversion and culture jamming kind of help loosen up the parts that need to be, out of the spot while everything is not quite right, so that the people being affected by this can be like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And yeah, some of them are going to want to pull the thing back down. And the fact is, you can't stop them. You cannot force them to acknowledge, but you can just say something about, all right, dude, but this is a thing. And then move on. People that I talked to, were previously kind of ambivalent, are now like, this seems pretty real. And I'm like, yes, it is. My mom used to sing this, which is wholly inappropriate. Nobody knows what songs are about. So, in closing, I'm going to attempt to keep it at one segment here. All the things I've already said. It is a very real thing that is happening. It is very real. It is not a national thing. It is happening to every country, but at different rates depending on the individuals in the country as well as the circumstances of the government of the country. In the case of our country, the crypto-fascists have thus far been utterly unable to remove the factor that allows us to remain free. And there's only like 2 other countries that have that too. But there are many other countries where the people are like, yo, what the hell? And at least even on the not to justify any of the things, the way things have been done, but they are recognizing, for example, natural immunity, at least. Most people have had it. There should be no reason for a mandate. Most people can get around the mandate if they acknowledge natural immunity. I wonder if the other 2 countries that also have basically what is, you could say, a Second Amendment are also at that same point, or if they're at a different position on it. Like, Australia took their people's guns away, but they started locking people up. Are there these other countries, are they in the same position? I don't know. It is very real. People are waking up. They need to be gently guided. This is the time that all the previous times that were all a bunch of false, it's just like false starts. This is really it. The point I'm getting to now, last minute of the video, is they want us to fight. It's not social. Social would be a fight. Culture is subversion. the thing that has been done to everyone, the MFP, has other people on other sides believing similar things in opposition to, for example, what I've just said, or people in a different political whatever. I could be opposition to any of them simply because I'm not agreeing 100%. This is a common thing anyway, but it's become weaponized. It's become acute. 37. The reason violence is not called for in Subversion is that they want us to get violent, to react, to do the thing. It gives them an excuse too. So the longer we sit here and hold our hand in that box, imagine if she said, okay, take your hand out of the box, and he said, no, give me more. That's all I got for now. There will be more. Yes, it's real. Start reading your Bible. It'll at least give you, read the Apocalypse for sure. There's other books too. I'm not saying convert to Christianity or any of that. I'm just saying pay attention to some of the things in there. They may give you some advice on how to deal with this crazy nonsense. History does not